Euro 2024 is kicking off on Friday. The wait is finally over, as is the wait for the Ultimate Champions European Summer Edition game powered by Unagi's Una token. Okay, now the UC Euro Edition, as I'm going to call it, is a limited time game mode with $200,000 of the Una token being given away as prizes, which, fair enough, you're getting bang for your buck there. There's no doubt about that, especially in the free-to-play modes, as you technically don't have to spend any buck, which I think's pretty cool. Looking at it here on the Medium article, the overall winner of the league competition will get a cool $10,000 worth of Una tokens, with the league being almost the free-for-all kind of entry, you know, put your best foot forward type of dealio. But the real juice, the real squeeze, comes from the Epic and Mythic modes, where the top spots are getting $650 and $1,800 respectively every single day. Which is low-key kind of mad for a limited time game mode. You know, it really shows Ultimate Champions and Unagi have faith in the game and the platform they're creating here, and they're really back in their corner with the Una token. So yeah, you love to see it. Now you know what you're playing for. You might be wondering how your players score points in this game. What's the metric they're judged against? And in this case, it's the Ultimate Champions scoring matrix, where like any fantasy football game, your players are scored against their real life performances, with scoring in Ultimate Champions being uncapped. And you can check out the scoring matrix in more detail for yourself if you followed the link in the description down below. But a brief overview today: your players are scored against possessive, attacking and defensive actions such as successful passes, key dribbles, as well as tackles and interceptions. And then they can also score bonus points for club actions such as being on the pitch when a goal is scored, or keeping a clean sheet, although it's worth noting that these actions are more weighted towards a player's respective position. Obviously, a goalkeeper should get more clean sheet points than a forward. I feel like that's fair. It makes sense. The logic adds up. And your players can also score negative points for certain actions such as missed passes and crosses, as well as yellow and red cards. Because again, if your player gets sent off, that's obviously not so good. You don't want to do that, guys. Don't pick players who get sent off. We've then got some lovely breakdowns here of how many points a specific action garners, and you'll be able to see your player scoring these points during live matches on the Ultimate Champions European gameplay pages for the league and tournament entries. Now let's look at the card rarities available to us for the duration of the tournament. Of course, we've got the Mythic and Epic cards that grant us access to the higher tier tournaments and the better daily prizes, but then every manager who joins the platform will also have access to every common card on the game. So if we go and look at my account here, Roy Olivia, that's me, like and subscribe, we can see lots of nice and lovely players like Kylian Mbappe, Romelu Lukaku, who's my shout to win the golden boot of the whole tournament. Then, of course, Fernandes, De Bruyne, Ronaldo, Saka, Harry Kane, Sabotza, lots of like that guy. And you can look at these players and think they're all very good at football, which would be correct. So if I've got access to all of them and everyone else has access to all of them, we're all just going to pick the best players on a given game day, and we're all going to have the same scores, and it's all going to be not competitive. But that would be wrong. That would not be the case at all, because if we go to the league over here, game day 1 starts in 2 days, exciting stuff, and we build our squad, we can see we have a points cap of 1,200 there, and we can also see it down here. So you can't just go and pick the best players available to you. You've got to be careful with your points. You've got to spend them wisely. For instance, if I just thought, oh, Manuel Neuer, he's a good shout. Oh, Kimmich, he's going to do well against Scotland. And then let's get Sabotza, Nico Williams as well. He's all right. All of a sudden, I've already used half of my points cap on 4 players. So you've got to be tactical about it. You've got to sort of scout the players available to you a bit, find a hidden gem almost of a last 5 average, and try and squeeze them in your squads for the favourable fixtures. You know, it's where the people who have a tactical nous for the Euros and the national teams and fantasy football itself, they're going to rise to the top. The cream of the crop always goes up, rises to the top, and that's what the people who are going to be smart are going to do. That was a lot of words that said nothing. So I've drafted up my first team here, as you can see, and if we look carefully, we can see that I have 11 players here, as there's 11 players needed to play a football match, so that makes sense. But then if we scroll down even further, we can see I've got no substitutes on the bench, and that's because I made an executive decision to not use the players on the bench. I feel like if you want to compete in the league brackets, you're going to have to put your strongest foot forward with 11 players outfield. Maximise the points cap there for your 11 outfielders, and just don't use any on the bench, because the lowest player you can put on your bench in terms of a last 5 average is going to be 30. So if you think you're going to have 1 on each bench spot, that's already 90 points of your points cap gone, and that's a key player right there alone. So for me personally, I just don't think it's worth having any bench players, and you've just got to do your homework here basically and research the lineups and figure out who you think's going to start. And a great tool to do that with for the Euros is definitely Play Sharper. As we can see here, I'm looking at the Italy lineup against Albania. We've got Scamacca and Chiesa in my lineup. I've also gone for DeMarco, Di Lorenzo and Bastoni. So I've got 5 strong players there. I think I've got Jorginho as well, actually. So that's 6 Italians. I've gone for 6 Italian strong players, all expected to start. Obviously, nothing's guaranteed, and that is definitely Italy's easiest fixture of the group. So we're not sure if a curveball could be thrown out there. But I think that's the smart way to do this, especially in terms of lining up 6 Italy players. There's no stacking limits in terms of how many players you can have from one nation per game day. So I think it's worth definitely looking at the fixtures and seeing what's best here. So I've gone Italy strong for those 6 players. And then if we look at the rest of the team in midfield, I've gone Germany strong. Obviously, they're favoured to beat Scotland. I've got Gundogan and Musiala there. And that's actually the first game of the Euros kicking off tomorrow night, Friday night. And Musiala is 90% and Gundogan is 85%. Obviously, play sharper experts aren't always going to get it right, but we have to back that. And I'm almost tempted to captain Gundogan as well, because he's already got a card on Ultimate Champions and he scores really well for Barcelona. So I feel like that's almost a known quantity right there that I can captain and just be sure that he's going to get a good score. Obviously, gambling on him starting, but that's the aim of the game here. We're all playing the same game there. And then at the back, I've got Satsalai of Hungary and Manuel Akanji of Switzerland. Obviously, they're playing each other, which is a bit awkward to have 2 players in the same lineup against each other. But I just hoping they cancel each other out. A 0-0 would be perfect for me there, where they both get good defensive scores. I think they're the only ones I have facing each other. Obviously, Italy against Albania, no Albania players. Germany against Scotland, no Scotland players. And then my final pick in goal is Dominik Livakovic of Croatia, and they're playing Spain. So if we flip the scoring back around to descending, we'll see here he's got an average last 5 games of 104 points, and it might catch your eye a bit further down that Donnarumma, also of Italy, who I've predicted have a strong start against Albania, is only 99. So not only does he have a lesser last 5 average to utilise the points cap a bit better, but he's also got a favourable fixture. So you might be thinking, Roy Livy, what the hell are you doing? Why are you picking Livakovic over Donnarumma when Livakovic has a tough fixture? And that's because I've looked at the scoring matrix here, and for goalkeepers, we can see they get a certain amount of points for specific saves with extra bonuses for the type of save, points for punches, high claims, smothers, keeper throws, all of that good stuff that a goalkeeper does on the pitch. And I just feel Donnarumma is probably going to be bored against Albania. I don't think he's going to have a lot to do. So I'm sort of taking a gamble here, a bit of a differential gamble, and going for Livakovic, who is definitely more susceptible to conceding a goal against a good attacking Spain side. But he's definitely going to rack up more points in general from saves and, other goalkeeping actions that we've just seen. And I feel like everyone's going to have the same thought. They're all just going to look at Donnarumma, see he's got a low last 5 average compared to Livakovic and Manuel Neuer, for instance, and they're going to whack him in. And I'm thinking 85 to 90% of managers will have him. So I'm hoping almost this gamble, this differential in going for Livakovic pays off and sort of amplifies my score a bit there. So yeah, all in all, I think that's a pretty strong lineup to kickstart the Euros with. But if you really back yourself and the knowledge you have around the Euros, you might want to shoot your shot a bit higher in the Epic and Mythic competitions, where 8 cards of each scarcity are required to enter. Now keep in mind there are no scarcity bonuses on any of the cards drawn the UC Euros edition. They are simply barriers of entry for those specific competitions with the higher payouts. And to get these cards, you're either going to have to get lucky in packs with some top players or browse the marketplace for good deals. Now I'm certainly interested to see what the marketplace will be like, considering this is a limited time game mode. Obviously the prizes on offer in the Epic and Mythic tournaments every day are pretty juicy, so there's definitely a lot to play for, but you have to bear in mind most of the players you get here will average out at about 4 to 5 games of utility across the competition. So definitely going to have to crunch the numbers here and see if it's worth investing on some top players in the marketplace, or even gambling on some packs to push for the top end daily prizes. And speaking of packs themselves, we can see here in the store they come at a cost of $7.50 for free epics, or $22.50 for free mythics, with these packs being split by the European groups. Don't know why I struggled with that sentence so much, but we got it out, we did it, we made it, we did it. So with the packs being split by the groups, it then becomes a case of which group looks like the best value for money pack-wise. Obviously Group B looks strong with Spain, Italy and Croatia, but you then run the risk of pigeonholing yourself if you pack heavy on the Albanian players there. No offence to any Albanians watching this, I'm sure you're all lovely individuals. But honestly, I just can't see a way you get out of the group stage, but I hope you prove me wrong. So for me looking at it, Group D almost seems like the best bet here, as not only does it include France, who are obviously going to have some of the best players in the tournaments as one of the favourites to win the whole thing, but the remaining 3 teams can all pack a punch themselves. Netherlands probably second favourite there to get out of the group in the runner-up spot, but you definitely back a few Poland and Austria players to score well on the matrix to sneak into those third place spots and get into the last 16. Now I'm back in the store where I have 2 packs to redeem my UC Holders airdrop due to my collection score on the regular Ultimate Champions, and my Persona Holders airdrop for owning one single Persona. So I believe these should both contain 5 epics. So yeah, that one contains 5 epics, the UC Holders airdrop, and this one contains 5 epics, the Persona Holders airdrop. So let's open them. This is super exciting stuff. Let's see what I'm gonna get. I got a Christian Eriksen. That's actually pretty good, I think. I assume he still starts for Denmark, so that's quite a good card to have. They've got an okay group if you avoid England. Davitashvili, probably not going to use him. Let's see what else I got. Kograshvili, that's Georgian heavy so far. Valentin Mela, Romania, that's not a team I fancy. Wow, this is not gone fantastic. You can't see this one because my face cam's in the way, but it's Anatoly Trubin of Ukraine. I think he actually starts, so that's a good epic card to get there. So 2 out of 5 isn't bad. Trubin and Eriksen, can't be too upset with those two. And let's see what I get in my UC Holders airdrop. If I can avoid Georgian and Romanian players, that would be just lovely. I'm going to open the one in the way of the face cam first and let you know what I got. I got a Nicolae Stanciu of Romania. What did I just say? But let's open the 4 at the top. Rabiot could be decent if you get some game time. Might start 1 or 2 games. Linehardt, not too excited about that one. Danilo, not too excited about that one. And another Romanian guy. Well, okay, the pack gods weren't with me today, but what I can show you is a little mythic collection I've been building for match day 1. This is mostly built with Hungary players, Salai, Nagy, Galaxy and Kirkes, all down to start on their opening match, according to Play Sharper, and then Sutalo of Croatia and Normand of Spain. They're all playing on Saturday, so they're all in the same bracket, all usable in match day 1. So I just need 2 more mythic cards to complete that setup, and then I can hopefully fill out the rest with 3 epic cards. I don't think any of these are on match day 1. The epic cards I just won, they're not, so I'll still need to buy 3 epic cards as well, but they'll be cheaper than the mythics luckily, so that shouldn't be too much of a problem. I've got about 1,100 unit in my account right now, and I'm gonna sneeze, bless me. Oh, that was horrific. I don't even know what I was saying. What was I saying? Stuff about the game, probably. Right, so how much did I pay for these cards? They were really cheap. Salai was like $4, Sutalo was $1.50, Nagy and Kirkes cost nothing. Lenormand and Galatsky were the most expensive ones, probably about $8 each. So all in all, I've spent a little over $20 to get these 6 in. And when I get 2 more mythics in, it'll probably be about a $30 to $40 team when I account for the free epics as well. So, you know, with the prizes on offer, I'm happy to spend $40 here on a match day 1 squad. It's then a case of, do I decide it's worth the gamble going for a match day 2 squad or a match day 3 squad when the next groups come into play. So that's my plan right now. That's how I'm attacking the game. And for anyone unaware, I have a UC Euros Edition private league for the entirety of the tournament, completely free to enter. Just follow the instructions in the description down below, where the winner, come the end of the tournament, will get a cool, cold hard cash money, $50 worth of the UNA token. But long story, it's slightly less long. It's definitely worth making sure you remember to log on every day and set your teams for the daily competitions to try and win those daily rewards set out by Unagi, but also so you can compete in some of the private leagues going around that you may have seen on Twitter and YouTube. You know, if you play the entirety of this limited time game mode completely free to play and come out with anything at all, then, you know, you're doing okay. I wish you all the finest of luck, and of course, I'll catch you next time.